The African Union has condemned what it called the unconstitutional change of government in Burkina Faso. On Friday, junior officers overthrew Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, who himself had taken power in a military coup just months earlier. As soldiers took over state TV, they said 34-year-old Captain Ibrahim Traoré was in charge. In the capital Ouagadougou, opinion was mixed. He could no longer manage the security situation, he says. Many people died, and more criminals approached the big cities. So many people were not happy about that. If there was a problem between the soldiers, discuss it between you, he says, to find the right solution. It's not the right solution to overthrow the power. That means, with this kind of situation, you don't know when it's going to end. Head of the African Union, Moussa Faki Mohammed, said he was deeply concerned about the resurgence of unconstitutional ousters in Burkina Faso, and he demanded the restoration of the constitutional order by July 2024. The Confederation of African Football has stripped Guinea of the right to host the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations known as AFCON. President of the CAF, Patrice Motsepe, travelled to Conakry on Friday for discussions with interim President Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, but said the decision dated back to July. Motsepe said they would ask the CAF for fresh bids because Guinea won't be ready to host the event in 2025. It's not the first time a country has been stopped from hosting AFCON. Cameroon was stripped of the right to host the 2019 tournament because they weren't considered ready, but they were awarded the 2021 tournament, which took place earlier this year because of delays caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. In Morocco, ancient meeting hubs along commercial routes have been restored for tourists. The City of Fez's $160 million project to reopen them allows craftspeople to move back and show their goods to visitors in the traditional funduks, or roadside inns used as commercial meeting hubs. There are approximately 10 funduks that have been completely restored, he says, and we now have 30 funduks that are undergoing restoration, and therefore a significant percentage of 120 hotels, that is, everything that belongs to the state is being restored. And this has a very important impact, especially in terms of preserving crafts. The crafts practiced in funduks include embroidery, sewing, tapestry, weaving, traditional belts, traditional decoration on wood, wooden buckets and brassware. In this funduk there are various types of handicrafts, she says. And in order to attract tourists from inside or outside Morocco, we focus on developing skills, techniques, quality and creativity. More than 30 craftspeople are currently working full-time in just 3 of the restored funduks. None were working there before the renovation as the sites were considered unsafe and closed to the public. I meet a lot of tourists, he says. Before the renovation, I was in a marginal funduk and it was not an opportunity to meet any of the tourists or customers, and now we're in the touristic area. We are keen to be creative and innovative. Today, the funduks have once again become a great centre of local skills and culture.
This beautiful building, it's beautiful renovated, and beautiful shops inside who sell craft from local people. It's really impressive.
The large buildings around a central courtyard could store goods and accommodate merchants and travellers in rooms upstairs.
A house help who lived with the family was subsequently arrested and eventually convicted by court for the murder. Rudasingwa's family has never been the same. The tragedy has since inspired his father, Victor Emmanuel Rudasingwa, to come up with a solution he hopes will help prevent similar crimes in the future.
I have a family with 3 children. but now I'm left with 2 children because the youngest is deceased. He was murdered by the domestic worker that was working at my home. The tragedy inspired me to come up with a solution to such problems. I know I'm not the first family in Rwanda to experience this. I created a software application known as Tekana app. The app's function is to store background information on domestic workers. When one has a domestic worker, I advise them to start using the Tekana app.
Rudasingwa said the portal will include names, IDs, place of birth, parents or guardians, job position, period of employment, among others. Although this solution does not completely curb household crimes, many users say they feel safer hiring a well-recommended domestic worker with the help of the app. African News visited one of the users of the application as she shared the impact that this technology has added into her family's life.
As a mother of 4 children, me and my husband are constantly busy with our daily activities. We leave our children with the domestic workers. This hence makes us very concerned about the security and the safety of our children because we do not know and trust the workers we hire 100%. When I started hearing about the Tekana app from my friends and social medias, I got intrigued. I was curious to know how it works.
The portal costs only 1,000 Rwandan francs for each subscriber. It consists of languages such as Kinyarwanda, English, and French. Diana Iriza in Kigali, Rwanda for African News.
On the second day of the trial of Rwandan Félicien Kabuga Friday, the alleged genocide financier refused to appear in court. The flaw was the defense lawyers in the Hague-based tribunal when prosecutors accused the octogenarian of setting up a hate media that urged ethnic Hutus to kill Tutsis and of supplying death squads with machetes. His defense rejected what they called a caricature. What would have been Félicien Kabuga's motive for such a frantic activity, whose sole purpose, according to the prosecutor, would have been the destruction of an ethnic group? In the context of the war, Félicien Kabuga's conduct is seen in an entirely different light. He was not a warlord, but a businessman, caught up in the prevailing chaos, and we will prove that. The lawyer described Kabuga as a farmer's son who taught himself how to write and read, and whose wife came from a mixed Hutu-Tutsi family. Over 50 witnesses are expected to appear for the prosecution starting next Wednesday. Kabuga is one of the last Rwandan genocide suspects to face justice.